Hi everyone, welcome to Wild Bush and Grid. This is Audren. So summer is almost over and we are slowly rolling into autumn. You know, the days are getting shorter. My garden is getting ripe with fruits, the apple, the prunes, the grapes. This is awesome. But that's, for me, this is a sign that hunting season is starting. So, alright, so for this year, I wanted to do something very, very special. I want to hunt with copper bullets and I want to give them a chance because I don't want to put that up for debate here. I know it's a very, very hot topic in the hunting community right now. And to me, it's just, let's explore what's there. And that's what I'm trying to do with this video. So I decided to come up with my own bullet and see what I can do. So right now, there is the, I've been shooting with Hornady, the Monoflex 250 grains with great success, great accuracy. I don't have anything, so I don't have anything bad to say about that bullet, the Monoflex. It's a great round. The challenge that I give myself was, can I come up with a better recipe? Trying other type of bullets. So I've made some research. Here in Canada, we're fairly limited actually, compared to what I saw as available in the US. And what I've been able to get here is the Barnes TSX, which is a hollow point flat base in 250 and 300 grains. And of course, I also find the Hornady Monoflex. So I want to make the best bullet I can and pit them against the 250 grain Monoflex from Hornady and see how far I can push it. So the difference between a lead bullet and a copper bullet is the volume. A copper bullet is longer, more volume, but you need to respect the overall cartridge length, right? So the more bullets you have inside the case, the less volume you have for the powder. So you cannot just, use the same recipe you had for your lead into your copper. It just doesn't work. What you need to find is you need to find a good powder that has enough energy in it that you will not need in the same volume as you would need in lead bullets. So what I'm going to do is, for each bullet that I have, the Barnes TSX 250, Barnes TSX 300, Hornady 250, what I'm doing is I'm going to work loads from minimum load all the way up to the max. I'll stay maybe 0.5 grain under the recommended max, just for me, my own. That's my safety measure, extra safety measure, I would say, that I'm adding here. So I will shoot 0.5 grain less than the max recommended on each recipe. The best powder, I've made a lot of research on powder, and I think the best powder that I could come up with in all the forums and the website and the data that I could find, I think the Vitavori is probably the one to go. So it's the N120. It's the N100 series, and the specific powder that I chose is the Vita N120. So this led me down the rabbit hole. I selected the N120, but everywhere what I could find, apparently the Vitavori was the most accurate. I don't know, I never tested it, so I cannot, say, oh yeah, sure, yeah, that's it. This is why I'm doing this video, actually, is to take all this theoretical knowledge and I want to put them in practice before I actually go on my hunting trip in Anticosti. So I'm going to Anticosti in a couple of weeks, and I want to test those copper bullets out there. I want to come up with the best bullet that I can come up with and test it out first at the range, and then test it out in real life situation, trying to put shots on deer. So let's see where this leads. As I'm recording this video, I have no idea. All the knowledge I have right now is all theoretical. It's all equations and people's opinion and data loads from manufacturers and everything that I could read, or a lot of video also that I've seen on YouTube, of course, of people trying various bullets and various loads. And I'm gathering all this data. What I've done is I've done a data sheet on Google Sheets, and so I could make my decision, stack up all the various differences and the thing and see what would serve me best. Now, one thing that I want to mention here is for a lot of the data that I found had, especially on velocity, for specific load, was for 22 or 24-inch barrel. My barrel is 18.5, so that plays against me because I will not have the same velocity downrange as a longer barrel would provide. One problem, what people has been saying in the past about copper bullets is the expansion, and you need a high velocity to have that bullet to have proper expansion once it hits the target. And what I've been reading is roughly you need something about 2,000 feet per second to have proper expansion. I've also read that for heavier bullets, especially in the 45-70, 250 grains, you have better, as the bullet is a bit heavier, you have good expansion at lower speed. So like maybe 1800. I'm not sure. I don't know. We can test that out. Right now, what I would try to do is I'm favoring right now something that will shoot at 2000 feet per second. That being said, the Hornady Monoflex is out of my barrel, 18.5, is about 1830. I don't remember precisely. I'll add it, but it's about 1835 or 1850 feet per second. I never used that run on an animal, so I cannot tell, I cannot say what the damage it will do. The size of the 45-70 definitely hit with authority. Good expansion or not. Definitely we want proper expansion. Like I will not set for good enough. I want best. But that being said, yes, a lot of you are going to say, yeah, well then go for lead. But you know what? The question here is to find what will define success with copper. Me, I have the choice. I have the choice to use copper. I have the choice to use lead. And I decided to give copper a chance and see what I can come up with. If Hornady, Hornady loads the Monoflex 250 grain comes out as it is, right? But me, as with my minimal equipment and minimal knowledge of reloading, can I come up with a bullet that is equivalent or better than the Hornady? And this is what I'm trying to establish here. So I'm gonna shoot the 250 at the range. I'm gonna shoot the 250, the 300, and the Hornady. I have various loads. I have three loads per recipe, right? So for example, for the 250, I'll start at 50 grains of powder. I have 3 bullets of this, and I have 3 bullets of 51.5 grains, and I have 3 bullets of 53 grains. The maximum recommended load was 53.5, so I'm staying 0.5 below the max recommended. And actually for 250, I should get pretty good feet per second out of my 18.5-inch barrel. And I'll be, definitely above 2000. I'll put the number there. So now I want to shoot the 300. The 300 definitely is going to be slower because that bullet is bigger in the cartridge. Therefore, I have less space for my powder. In the 300, my recipe for a 300 is definitely less grain, but the 300 being heavier, it also have better ballistic coefficient and a higher sectional density, which is something that we want. We want high sectional density and we want high ballistic coefficient because it makes better shot and it makes faster kill. So, but the question is, does a 300 that is slightly slower with better ballistic coefficient, better sectional density, would it be able to outshoot a 250 grain that is much faster, knowing that it has a lower sectional density and a lower ballistic coefficient, but that speed, where does it stand? I don't know. This is all theoretical, and we need to. I want to test that out in the range. And the Monoflex, I added the Monoflex there simply because I want to see, knowing that the current Hornady 250 grain Monoflex shoots out 1835 feet per second out of my 18.5 barrel. I want to see if I can come up with a better hand load for the same bullet and beat the one that I can, the one that I bought in the store. So this is all great. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of equations, sectional density and ballistic coefficient and X amount of powder here and velocity, feet per second, all this. Fine. All of this means nothing if at the range it shoots for shit. The real test is out there shooting downrange. All right, so we do have a clear winner. I'm surprised by the result, really. The best group that I had was the Barnes, and I have this lovely group here. Those are all the shots that I took at the range. I took photo of them, I put them in Photoshop, and I compiled them in a more presentable way, because here on the targets, the groups sometimes are a little bit all over the place because I didn't zero for specific loads. So some groups are higher, some groups are lower. But what I did is I took all my groups and I put them in the middle of this target, and I'll show some of them up on screen. But interestingly, so what I was saying is we do have a clear winner, and it's the Barnes 300. I don't know how well you can see up there. I'll probably add an overlay in the video somewhere in this area, but this is the best group that I got, and it's almost 1 inch group. I think it's 1.1, like I try to almost at 1. I think it's 1.1 or 1.05, but I'm very happy with this, because if I had the scope that I had is a 2.75, so that's not a lot of magnification. At 100 yards, the only thing I could see, like that whole circle, was behind the reticle in the scope, so I could have been left or right, I don't know. But if I had the other scope that I have on my Tika, for example, which is a 10x, maybe I would have been able to put the crosshair really on point and have maybe a better group. I'd like to think so, but who knows? 45-70 out of a 18.5 inch barrel and hitting sub MOA, that's awesome. It's overkill, definitely, for hunting. Don't get me wrong. This is just me trying to be. I'm a bit zealous. I'm overdoing it, I know. But it's nice to see this type of accuracy, because I didn't expect that at all. I can show you some other group, like the Hornady, of course. That's always a pretty good round. It did exactly what I was expecting it to do. I have it here. This is my group with the Hornady, which is not too bad also. It's not this one, here it is. So that was my group with the Hornady, which is, a 100-yard animal is hit in the boiler room, so that's not a question. But funnily enough, this corroborates what I had in the past with this bullet. I had a group from earlier this spring, and it's the same distance. Like they line up perfectly. When I saw my group with the Hornady, it's actually lined up with an old group that I made earlier this spring. It's almost 1-to-1. I don't know if it's visible through the thing, but these two groups, this is spring and this is yesterday, they they actually line up. That's funny. All right, so the biggest disappointment that I had was my Monoflex with the Vita Vuori, the N120. It's the worst of all my groups, and it's this one. So yeah, it's the most still, you know, at 100 yard, having like a what? This is within about 2 inches, 2.2 inches, no, a little bit bigger than 2. Yeah, you know, let's say average 2 inch. So, okay, I want to add some caveat to all this. You know, if I could have, you know, if I could have done a group of 6 and even 8 shots per group, I think we'll have better understanding of what's actually happening here. Group of 3 is a little bit thin to draw any hard conclusion and use as evidence, I think. But I think it's really good because there's a trend though across all the shots that I've done and all the various loads. And what I realize is the Barn 300 we're grouping under 2 inch. Like this is clear under 2 inch. My second best group was the Barn 250, which was almost a little bit slightly under 2 inch. And my worst was my groups with the Hornady Monoflex and the Vitavore. So my recipe for the Hornady. And I'm a little bit disappointed here because I was expecting, you know, that having that Monoflex with a higher velocity to actually have tighter group and have better accuracy than the factory Monoflex. But no, that's not what happened, and I'm wondering why. Yeah, the big question is what's happening to the Monoflex here, especially like knowing that he has a tip point, the flex tip is supposed to give better stability in flight. So my guess here is it's not during the flight, but it's whatever happened from the chamber as the round is being pushed through the barrel and out. And I think this is where something is not, creates what we're seeing here, this little inaccuracy, because this is consistent with the factory Hornady and my own load. So before we go, I want to say flat out, maybe I should have even said it earlier, this video is not sponsored by anyone. No one paid me to do this video. This is my own, I've everything I used for this was all my own money. I didn't get anything from anyone to make this video, and I owe nothing to anyone for this video. So I'm not here to say nice thing about Barnes or Hornady or whatever. I've done my research, I went out, I did the test, and now we got the result. And honestly, myself, I am surprised because I wasn't expecting at all this type of result. I was talking about the 300 being heavier, having better characteristic than the 250, but at a slower pace, would it outshoot or not? And it did. The 300 has, I would say, 1.5 inch group. This is awesome. It's and you know the other one is the 250 is 2 inch, about 1.8 group, and this so those are all the 3 recipe, right? So we have the minimum, a medium, and the high load, and it's the same for the Barnes here. So what you're seeing here is all the 9 loads in one snapshot. So if I were to shoot a specific load, I'm sure it would be even more consistent. So for the 300 with 47 grain of powder was at 1.1 inch group. So yeah, the bullet that I will actually go with to anti-custody is the Barnes TSX 300 grain, loaded with the Vitavore and 120. And out of my barrel, all 3 shots came out above 2000. So it was 2054, 2073, and 2074. So super stable, not a lot of variation between the 3 shots, and it's super tight group, like for a 45-70, I call that super, super tight. And seriously, I have more questions now than ever. And I would love to continue to have actually another shot, pun intended, at this test, and trying to do more than just three shots per group. Maybe next year. Right now, I've got I need to move on. I need to go to Anticosti. I have a lot of stuff to do. But probably next year, I'll probably do I'll redo this video with the knowledge that I have today, and I will try to improve on that. Another next probable step is knowing that Barnes 300 shot so well. Maybe I can start playing with that recipe. That 47 grain, which was 0.5 under the maximum load recommended. Now I'm wondering, what if I was to increase ever slightly toward the max recommended, or pull back a little bit from that 47, maybe trying 46.5, 46.8, and see what these groups would look like on paper. I would definitely love to see that. Another set of tests that I wanted to do, which has nothing to do with accuracy. Like, honestly, all these bullets, like, as you're saying, accuracy is not a big issue. I think expansion now is the other question, which, at all these velocity were at muzzle and downrange, I expect that velocity to drop a little, but how much did it actually drop? So that's another type of test that we could do. And instead of doing the velocity test at that range, what we could do straight away is just like expansion test, where we shoot through ballistic gel. I wanted to do that for this video, but it was like a lot. I had to buy like an incredible amount of gelatin to make all these things, and I was lacking equipment and things to do that, so I had to drop this. But that's something I would love to do in the future. If I had infinite time, infinite money, definitely my group, I would have made not 3 shots group. I would have done maybe 10 shots group to have better data and better. We could have drawn better conclusion of this thing. So again, I have nothing against Hornady. I use their product. I still have a lot of my rolling equipment is from Hornady. It was my first time trying the Barnes, and I'm really, really, really impressed with what I'm seeing. It's kind of it kind of concur with the what I was wondering about having a heavier bullet at 300 versus a 250. And yes, it's 0.5 inch better, but it is better, even though if it's by a small margin. That's it. If you're still here after that super lengthy video, well, I want to thank you. If you like what I'm doing here, please let me know in the comments. Have you had any, what's your experience with copper? Please share what you've done in the past with copper bullets in your own research. What works for you? Have you tried the Barnes? Have you tried the Monoflex? Let me know in the comment. I wanna hear. I want to learn from other people. Is there anything in my process that makes you doubt or anything? Hit me up. I'll answer all the questions as best as I can. I don't have all the answer, but what I've done here, I have nothing to hide, and I can share everything that I've been trying to do and the result. Yeah, don't like. If you want to keep up with me, you can find me on Instagram and hit subscribe. I have more video like this in the future. I'm going to Anticosti next week. So not next Friday, not next Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And when I'll come back, I'll definitely have a new video for you. And it's going to be part 2 of what we done here. So this was all the math, theoretical, going to the range, shooting, having these results. And what I'm going to do in Anticosti is actually, hunting with these bullets. And I will try to gather as much information also while I'm out there. And I will describe the situation, where I was when I made my shots, and we'll open up if I get deers. I have 2 tags, so if I can get my shots on 2 deers, I will, I'll open them up, and then we'll have a look at the wound cavity, entry wound, exit wound, all this stuff. Hope you have a strong stomach. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.